Introducing the DRF Cash Grab app, the super easy, free-to-play sports predictor game from a name you know and trust, the Daily Racing Form. Use your sports knowledge to predict the winners, and you could score thousands of dollars in cash prizes. Pro football, college football, pro basketball, college basketball, hockey, soccer, boxing, baseball, and more. Compete against others for a spot on the monthly leaderboard. Download the DRF Cash Grab app and play today.
Welcome into DRF Daily, DRF Sportsbook's betting live stream, coming at you every single day that there is football on. And I say that we missed yesterday's episode. A few things came up. I couldn't hop on the live stream. If I had, we went 2-1, but I won't count that towards our overall record. I was on the Texans to cover on Miles Sanders over rushing props. The only one that didn't hit, Jalen Hurts. I had a combined rushing and receiving prop for over 282 yards. Just missed that by about 20 yards. So tough loss there, but 2-1. We won't dwell on that one because we have a fantastic day of action. We have a Pac-12 Friday night lights showdown between Oregon State and Washington. And then we're going to break down the game of the weekend. This game trumps everything else that's on the schedule, NFL included. Tennessee, Georgia. And it's a really fun pick. I don't know if you'll agree with me, but I'm feeling really confident about it. And then from there, we're going to go into a little bit of a bias that I have. It's a little bit of a homer breakdown, but we're going to talk JMU Louisville because that game has a lot of interesting angles, and that game is juicy if you can get it at the right number. So without further ado, let's break down today's games. Oregon State travels to Seattle. They take on the Washington Huskies. Huskies -4.5. Both teams come in with 2 losses. Oregon State ranked at 23. Washington's lost to Arizona, looming large over them. It was about 3 weeks ago when Washington fell back-to-back games. I believe it was against UCLA and then fell against Arizona to give them that 6-2 record. Washington comes into this one not covering their last 4. They opened the season covering their first 4, and now they've failed to cover their last 4, sitting at 4-4 against the spread on the season. Washington's also been favored in every single game, and this game is no different. And that's because they're a really good team. They're 18th in expected points added. They're the second best offense in the entire nation. Their issue and their Achilles heel all season has been their defense. They're 126th in EPA in defense, one of the worst units in terms of efficiency metrics. This is a defense that allows 367 yards. This is an offense that puts up over 500 yards. But this defense allows 28 points per game, and they played in FCS school, I believe. So that kind of it inflates it a little bit, or I guess deflates it in the case of defense. It's just not a good defense. There's no way around it. But on the other side, it's Oregon State, which is how I would describe Washington light. They are 41st in EPA, 10th in offense, 117th in defense. So a little bit worse of an offense, a little bit better of a defense, but not by much. They're essentially what Washington is doing, just not doing it as well on the offensive side of the ball. And that's why Oregon State is a 4.5-point road dog in this one. But Oregon State, the Beavers, have had a lot of success covering against Washington. They're 12-4 against the spread since 1992 against the Huskies. Huskies, though, are 12-4 straight up against the Beavers. So it's interesting kind of that breakdown. But 3 of the last 4 games, Oregon State has covered. But I think tonight, Washington is going to cover. It will be tough, though. Let me tell you why. The weather, it's not looking good up in Seattle at this time of the year. It's going to be a little bit chilly. Probably going to be wet. It's going to rain all day. It might be raining at game time. Not entirely sure. Right now, weather.com has it as a 30% chance of rain, light showers at around the time of kickoff. That could change to being a downpour. But regardless of all that, it's going to be windy. Winds are going to reach up to 18 miles per hour, and that's going to really impact this Huskies team. For a second, the way I was seeing Oregon State, the way I was seeing Washington, the way their defenses have been playing this season, I thought for sure the over would hit. And originally, when I had my best bets written out, it was Washington -4.5 plus the over. I took out the over because of the weather. I'm still sticking with Washington, but if it's rainy, if it's windy, it impacts the Huskies more than it impacts the Beavers because the Huskies tear it up through the air. They're led by Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr., 22 touchdowns this season, 4 interceptions. He leads college football in passing yards. He's been an absolute stud for them, transferring from Indiana into the Pacific Northwest. So Michael Penix has gone on record this week, kind of downplaying the weather forecast, saying it won't matter. It's going to matter, but I don't think it'll matter too much. I think Washington is the better offense. Give me Washington -4.5. I think that's the best bet. I think tonight they're going to kind of roll through it. If it's not too rainy, I like them to move it through the air. Now, if it's downpouring, it's cold, and it's windy, it might be an ugly game, and we might be sweating that one out to the very end. Now, moving on from that one, the game of the week, the game of the season, dare I say the game of the century. I know that's what we build Alabama, Tennessee as, but now it's Tennessee, Georgia. The Volunteers #1 in the college football rankings, their first edition, the first iteration. Volunteers sit atop after Georgia has been at the top of the AP top 25 since the beginning of this season. And then Tennessee usurps them. This game just got a little bit more interesting. Georgia is -8 at home. Tennessee traveling to Athens. They haven't really won a big game much on the road. They went down to Baton Rouge, took down LSU, but that was kind of during the weird time of LSU. I mean, LSU now 10th in the nation. We'll break that game down tomorrow on Saturday's edition of DRF Daily. But other than that, I mean, their biggest wins this season have all come at home. We all know the UT Martin win. That's the Alabama win. That was at home. Kentucky, that was at home. Tennessee has their work cut out for them. They got to go on the road and take on a Georgia team that is one of the best defenses in the country. I mean, this is a fantastic showdown between a vaunted Georgia defense against an electric Tennessee passing attack. And I'll say this, Tennessee is one of the best passing units in the entire nation. They're 7th in EPA in pass offense. And they're going up against a Georgia defense that's 7th. I believe it's 7th. Let me get my numbers right real quick. I believe Georgia's 7th or 4th in defense this season. They're a top 10 defensive unit according to expected points added, according to EPA. But their one weakness is against the pass. And I say weakness, if it's any other team, it's one of their strong suits. But Georgia is 22nd in the nation in EPA in pass defense. This is a team that it's going to stop you no matter what. I mean, Georgia's defense is really good. And going up against Hendon Hooker, it is going to be a fantastic showdown. You see here, Georgia this season is allowing just 177 yards through the air, 5.7 yards per completion. I mean, their rush defense is practically impenetrable, allowing just 3.3 yards per rush, 86 yards per game. They allow just 11 points per game. This Georgia defense is absolutely no joke. But there is a historical trend that goes in favor of the Tennessee Volunteers. You see it right here at the top. It's a lot of words. It's hard to really understand. But historically, since over the last 10 seasons, this hits 30 of 37 times. If you bet on a road underdog of 3.5 to 10 points, so ding, 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 we're hitting Tennessee right here. Tennessee, an 8-point underdog, which is kind of absurd to me. Tennessee has one of the best offenses. They're going to be able to put up points. I don't think Georgia's – well, I'll keep talking about that in a second. But so a road underdog of 3.5 to 10 points, ding, 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 we're in Tennessee. After they've gained over 525 total offensive yards the last 3 games, boom, 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 they have against Alabama, UT Martin, and Kentucky. Not only that, Tennessee outgained Kentucky by over 125 yards last game. Tennessee's offense has been electric. Tennessee's offense has been unstoppable. Tennessee's offense is the best in the nation right now, in my opinion. If you bet on that road underdog, if you bet them at their spread +8 in this case for Tennessee, you would have hit 30 of 37 times. You would be up 22.3 units. And that's the best rating of any kind of betting angle we have for this game. And it favors Tennessee. There's another one for Georgia, but that's just a 2.8 rating. This one is a 3.2 rating. You see over on the left side, our power line likes Georgia at -11. Our estimate #1 likes them to cover. Our excuse me, not to cover. They like Tennessee to cover, and they like Tennessee to cover in estimate number 2. And I'm here to tell you, don't even take Tennessee +8. Take Tennessee to win this game. Tennessee is a bona fide national championship contender. If they win this game, they're all but in the college football playoff. They're number 1 right now. I don't see them losing another game. This is the one game they can lose. And if they want to kind of put that stamp on this season, put this stamp on what Josh Heupel has done for this Volunteers program, it's to win this game. Tennessee has had this game circled since they beat Alabama. And what did they do? They went out and dominated UT Martin. They went out and absolutely bull rushed Kentucky. They're ready for this game. The Volunteers are the best offense in the nation. They're going up against the best defense in the nation. But we saw what Hendon Hooker and company did against Alabama, a traditional defensive power, a little bit in a down year. But still, you don't hang 52 points against a Nick Saban defense with a piss-poor offense. This is led by Hendon Hooker. Josh Heupel has things rolling. They're getting back some key players. They were without one of their stud safeties for that Alabama game. He's back for this game. Give me Tennessee to win this at +260. I'm hammering the Volunteers. I'm all in on Tennessee. Give me old Rocky Top. Tennessee to win. Georgia, they're going to fall out, and who knows what happens the rest of the way. Kirby Smart hasn't had the best track record in big games, and this is one of the biggest games. Tennessee's going to get up to it. They're going to go into Athens and just destroy in the fact that they're going to upset the Bulldogs here. And number 1, Tennessee is going to hold on to that. They're going to walk their way into the college football playoff and win the whole damn thing. All right. Let me get off my soapbox. Let me set up my other soapbox, and we're going to stand up on JMU Louisville. Folks, this is a homer breakdown. I mean, I'm going to be a little bit biased in this one, but I have statistics to back me up. I feel comfortable about this one. If you see behind me, there's a JMU thing. There's a JMU from when they won the national championship in the FCS. I can't get my pointing right as it's all flip with StreamYard. JMU is a 7.5 point on DRF Sportsbook. If you're in Iowa, JMU is a 7.5 point underdog this weekend, tomorrow against Louisville. This line has been insane. I think it opened at Louisville -10, -10.5. It's come down to 7. It's jumped up to 8. The line movement has been pretty insane on this game, and it's for one reason. The starting quarterback is in extreme question for the JMU Dukes. They didn't know who the starting quarterback was. Against Marshall, which was JMU's last game 2 weeks ago, they're coming off of a bye week. They went with Billy Atkins, their backup quarterback. Did not look good. The offense looked lethargic. The offense looked lackadaisical. The offense just was not solid, and they ended up losing that game in a low-scoring defensive battle. Now, a bye week, and there's been some secrecy surrounding the quarterback. The media has been asking questions. The portion of practice that's typically left open for the media was closed off. And a Breeze reporter, Breeze is the local student paper, there's a hill, not to get too into the weeds of JMU, but there's a hill that you can see into the stadium, and you can see what's happening. He was on that hill. He saw that it looked like number 1, Todd Centeio, was taking reps with the first team and was a full participant in practice, which leads us to believe that Todd Centeio is going to be full go here on Saturday against Louisville. And that's huge. This offense has taken a major step back with Billy Atkins at the helm. And honestly, I kind of took a little bit of a step back the last 2 games. Granted, they put up over 30 points, but looked a little lethargic at times. But with Todd Centeio back, with JMU's getting healthy that bye week, they were able to bring back a lot more guys. Kaylon Black, which is a name you've never heard of, and unless you're really into JMU circles, you probably wouldn't know, but a really dynamic running back out of the backfield. Todd Centeio's back there again. The offensive line still potentially a little bit banged up. But Louisville is -7.5, is -8, depending on your sports book, because of the questionable status of Todd Centeio. Now, with reports coming out that it's likely he will go, I'm saying right now, hammer JMU as the dog at +7, +7.5. JMU's defense is still one of the best in the nation, and this is a good-on-good breakdown, right? Louisville runs the ball well, especially with Malik Cunningham. He's only thrown, I believe, 4 touchdowns this season with 4 interceptions, and you see that and you're like, well, that's not good. but he's the team's leading rusher. I believe he has over 600 rushing yards. He has 11 rushing touchdowns, and he's gonna be a huge thorn in the side for this JMU defense. But they've come on big. They had a arguably their best game of the season against Marshall. They're still the number 2 defense according to EPA in the nation. They have a better EPA than Louisville overall as a team. And that's with an offense that's regressed a lot, and the stats are bringing them down a lot after last game against Marshall. JMU, with Todd Centeio, has the capability of not only covering, but winning this game. If you're on JMU plus 220, I do not blame you on the money line. But my best bet for this game is JMU plus 7, mainly because of Todd Centeio's availability. And I think Louisville's line is a little bit inflated in this one. And I think JMU is deflated. JMU's coming off of back-to-back losses after getting voted into the AP Top 25 in their first year in the FBS. Louisville's coming off of an absolute demolition against Wake Forest, but that was led by, I believe, 8 turnovers that they forced, 5 of which came in the third quarter, and that is not replicable. I think this is a spot where JMU can easily get this cover. Our power line likes Louisville at minus 18, but then you zoom out and you go to the estimates. Both estimates like JMU to either win or tie, but essentially to cover. So give me JMU plus 7, plus 7.5, plus 8, whatever your book is right now, right here, right now. Lock in JMU to cover this weekend. If you're feeling ballsy, JMU money line, I'm not going to blame you. I'm on JMU money line, but I'm trying not to give me my full homer bias take. JMU to cover. I think that's one of the plays of the weekend, and that game's at 7:30 p.m. on ESPNU tomorrow. So thank you so much for tuning in to DRF Daily, DRF Sportsbooks betting live stream, coming at you each and every day that there's football. And as I say that, I'm a liar to you because we were not on yesterday, but we'll be on today as evidenced by our liveness. And we'll be on tomorrow and Sunday and Monday, breaking down all of the games. So best bets recap for today's slate. Washington minus 4.5 against Oregon State. Keep an eye on the weather in that one, depending on how the weather shakes out. Maybe the over's the play as well. Maybe Washington, maybe a little bit of a little parlay. Have some fun with it. Washington spread with the over. Washington is the better team. Oregon State's ranked, but Washington at home, much better team. Tennessee money line at Georgia. I'm all in on the Volunteers bus. I will be driving that hype train all the way to the college football playoff, all the way to the national championship. Tennessee's going to go into Athens and take down the Bulldogs. Give me Tennessee plus 260. I'm feeling good. JMU plus 7.5 at Louisville. Depending on your book, that can range from plus 7 to plus 8. Right now, DRF Sportsbook. If you're in Iowa, it's at JMU plus 7.5. Hammer the Dukes at plus 7.5, folks. They're still questionable technically, so Vegas isn't necessarily moving the odds all that much. But it seems like all signs are indicating that JMU stud quarterback Todd Centeio, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, is going to be a full participant in this game. And that's massive, as I think he will slice and dice this Louisville defense. And JMU's defense, one of the best units in the nation, against the rush. And they're going to have their hands full against Malik Cunningham, but I think they have the capabilities of pulling it off. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you same time around 11 a.m., around noon. We're probably more towards 10 a.m., 11 a.m. for tomorrow's Saturday slate. We're breaking down a few games. I forgot off the top of my head which ones they are. Alabama, LSU is in there. A few other ranked matchups. It's going to be a fantastic day. Have a wonderful Friday. Get ready for the weekend, and let's make some money on some of these bets. See ya.